Today's guest has made a big impact across the nation in many people's lives as a coach, an author, influencer, and advocate for women. Now, before we get into today's show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that you can be notified every single time we drop a new video. Now, let's go into the ABU Genius Lab.
Are you ready for an extreme makeover of the mind? With the producer and host of a Better You podcast, the transformational coach whose assignment is to challenge people to change, grow, and evolve into the individuals they were created to be. Here is Dr. Anthony McFarland, providing you with practical tools and wisdom for everyday life challenges for you to win in life, relationships, and finances.
Hey guys, we're in the lab today and I'm excited about my next guest. She is a trailblazer, one who I believe could even be marked as a guru, a real queen of coaching. I don't even want to just say life coaching, but she's been a coach to others. Her name is to be accredited with Ayanna Van Zandt, Les Brown. I mean, she has been a trailblazer, not only within our community, but the nation. And I respect her. I honor her as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, an entrepreneur, ordained minister. She's an author. She has a lot of phenomenal books. Again, life coach. And unfortunately, but life throws us curveballs. One who has understood and had the experience of loss. Her awesome son, as well as her mother, from cancer. She's the founder of a nonprofit outreach organization serving women living with adversity. Again, just phenomenal. She's the founder of Women on the Grow. Dr. Taylor offers and gives diamond mind success to each and every person that she encounters. And so I'm honored. She has been a counselor to me. She has been a coach to me. She has been a trainer to me. And she doesn't like to use the word critique, but I have at every stage of my journey as a pastor and a certified coach have sought out her wisdom as well as her counsel on perfecting my gift. And so, again, I'm just blessed to have her on the ABU pivot this season. So please help me welcome the extraordinary, vivacious Dr. Jill Diamond Taylor.
Hello, hello. Can I
There
get
she is.
can I get that intro in writing, please?
Hey, listen, it's the truth. It's the truth. You have been a trailblazer for so many people, leaders, families, and as much as your focus has been on women, a lot of men have been blessed by you. My wife and I have been blessed by you. And need I say, your awesome husband, Brother John, who you've been married to
54 years.
54 years.
In
Come on.
2024, I'll be 54.
Come on. I think you're carrying some wisdom and some gold and some diamonds to help all of us succeed. How are you doing?
I am so well to be in your company, to be honored by you because you are an amazing orator, pastor, leader. And I'm just so honored that we have connected on so many different levels
Yes.
on the stage. You've been a part of my programs. I've been a
Yes.
part of your wife's programs. And so we're practically neighbors, but we have such a passion for empowering people. So I'm glad to be with a like-minded leader such as yourself.
That means so much, and it really does. And I think you and I have had these conversations, sidebar conversations about really sometimes how tough it can be as a leader, as a thought leader, both in Christendom as well as in the marketplace,
Yes.
to connect with people of like precious faith, to those who are like-minded, who have a growth mindset, and those who really want to see other people win. And that's what I love about Jewel Diamond Taylor, your mission is to see people win, to see people walk in a level of victory, and which reflects, my mission as well. And so it's beautiful when two like-minded individuals that God has created to do some extraordinary things can connect and not be intimidated, you know,
Exactly.
by each other's gifts. So again, hey, what's happening in this season of your life?
It definitely is a season. I can feel the season ending and a season beginning. And when you're in that faith gap, Pastor, you need people like yourself in your corner to bounce off ideas, to encourage you, and to collaborate with you, because neither one of us are about competition. It's truly about collaboration. And so I'm in a season where I am pivoting. I love that word. And that simply means, okay, I got to turn around. I've got to do something different. I've got to get a new perspective. I've got to get a new plan and not lose sight of my core values
Yes.
or my mission and mantle. I just have to do it in a different way. And that can be scary to people when they're so married to an idea or so married to the way they want to do it.
Wow.
And so, being in the seventh decade of my life and just about 40 years on the speaking circuit,
Hold on,
uh,
hold on. I don't
as you
want them
know,
to miss that. I don't want them to miss that. You said the
yeah,
seventh decade of your life. Looking
yeah,
every bit of fifth or a sixth decade of your life. For those who
yeah,
don't know what a decade is, if I'm correct, a decade consists of maybe like 10 years a decade. And she
yeah,
says 7 decades. Come on.
yeah.
Wow.
I'll,
Isn't God
I'll be
good?
73 in a couple of weeks, celebrating
Oh,
73. What a blessing. What a blessing to still be
yes.
here, just especially after the pandemic. That was a scary time, not only for our careers, but our health, our family, our faith. Everything
Yes.
was being assaulted. And to be able to still be standing and to know that I have to pivot, I've got to still honor the gift in me, but be creative, innovative, collaborate with others, and be truthful with myself. I find that I'm in a truth telling season.
That's good.
And yeah, and a lot of people are in denial, or they're living with a lot of anxiety, or
Yes.
they're procrastinating. And so coaches like you and me are very vital to people to help them to come out of these emotional traps. And what I've learned is a term called emotional inflammation. And so when we get in touch with how we're feeling, it affects what we do. And a lot of people want to do before they stop and think about, well, what am I feeling? What's really going on with me? Where
Yes.
am I? So that was a great question. Where am I? And I know that I'm in a faith gap. My faith hasn't wavered, but I'm crossing this bridge, not quite sure where I'm going. But the Lord is my navigator as well as my gift.
Yes.
And I remember, I don't know if I heard it or I read it, but someone said and it just struck me so deeply. It said, don't follow your dreams, follow your gift. Because you could have dreams like, oh, I think I'll do this. Oh, I want to do this. And it's like a fantasy, it's a hope, it's a fading wish. But when you stay true to your gift, I believe that God honors that and keeps equipping you. And it may look different in a different season, but
Yeah.
that core gift, that drive, that passion, you become unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, as you are
Come on.
too.
Come on. Yeah. Because our gift is tied to our purpose.
Exactly.
And the bonus is when the gift is tied to purpose and passion, that's $1,000,000 within
Exactly.
itself. As
And
you,
service too. And service.
yes,
Because
most
it's
definitely.
not really about me, because I could be
No,
honest. There's times I wanted to give up. There's times I thought I was defeated. There's times that I thought, oh well, maybe maybe I'm disposable now. Maybe the landscape is changing, and it's
right,
like, Jill, that gift is not even for you. It's about other people.
right.
What
Yeah,
what?
the Lord showed, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Lord showed me that some years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I had these moments of doubt,
Yes.
discouragement, feeling rejected, not
Mm,
valued,
come on.
that the gift that he created me to be was for someone else's benefit. And then I had this epiphany where actually it wasn't an epiphany, the Holy Spirit spoke so loud to me, said, why are you in this place emotionally again
Mm-hmm.
when Jesus has been our example of what it means to be a gift to the world.
Yes.
They did not value him.
Come on.
They persecuted him. They spit on him. They beat him. They did not see the gift that
Did
I
not
blessed
see
them with. And so why would you think if Jesus had over 2,000 to leave him in one day, you're crying over two people that left you in one day?
Yeah, that's a sermon right there. That's a sermon right there.
Yeah. And so it's about the pivots and pivoting, as you so eloquently shared where you're at. You're in another place of pivot. And I want to just briefly, because there are so many people, Dr. Jewel, who are grieving the loss of loved ones, that I know personally are grieving the loss of loved ones, to people experiencing loss nationwide across the globe. Some is due to sudden death. Others is you knew it was coming, but you weren't ready. And then you have the wars where lives have been taken and snatched from families. And so I know that you are well aware of what it's like to grieve the loss of those precious to you. Can we just talk about, just for a moment, can you share your journey and what it's been like to go through that grieving process of tragically losing those that you love, to help some of us out?
Well, Christmas is a very tender time. The end of the year, New Year's, celebrations, music, shopping, gifts, parties. It's a very tender and fragile time because people will have someone missing at the dinner table. I lost my mother very quickly to breast cancer. I lost my son to cancer, and thank God you were there to support me, my husband. And I think the thing that really got me through, not only my anchored faith, but I was surrounded by people. I'm a relationship building person, and I find a lot of people are not relationship building. They're more concerned about image and money and status and the letters behind their name. Those are all good things. But when it comes to death, divorce, debt, disease knocking on your door, you can't do that thing by yourself. You need support from people that care about you. And I know that I'm sitting here saying, because of my faith and because of my wonderful circle of people in my life that were there for me emotionally and spiritually. Also, it was a great masterclass. When you lose some significant people, either you become a better you, okay,
Yes.
or you become a bitter you.
Come on.
And when I lost my mother, I shut down emotionally for many years. I was faking it. I was working, I was still speaking, but I was a hot mess when the lights were off. When we got the news that our son was terminal, the first prayer I said, Lord, if this is your will, I rebuke depression, because I saw what it did. It robbed me. It robbed my remaining family that were still here. And I said, Lord, please don't let me fall into a pit of depression. Help me to accept, help me to surrender to your will. Help me to be there for him. And luckily, I was there for his last breath. And my son got out of the hospital bed, weak as he was, with an oxygen mask, and took the oxygen mask off and kissed me 3 times on the cheek. And on the third kiss, he fell to the floor. He was gone. And when they picked him up and put him on the hospital bed, I actually saw a halo. I actually saw that my son had gone to the arms of the Lord. I saw the light around him.
Wow.
And I was grateful that he was out of pain. And so what happened is that the Lord said, okay, now you're going to write a book. I'm like, what? So I wrote a book 1 year after his death called I Am Resilient, because the Lord said there are people losing their home, losing a car, losing their business, losing a ministry, losing their mind. And you are not unique. You don't think because you pray and you tithe and you serve that you are immune to sorrow. And so my whole perspective changed. It's like, I'm not going to whine. I'm not going to have a pity party. But at the same time, Pastor, I learned it's okay to have the emotions that I did have. It's a roller coaster. And those moments of grief come in like a ocean wave and wash over you, but then they pass. So I learned when people would call me to say, no, today's not a good day, or today I really need to be quiet and still, because they think it's on his birthday or Christmas. No, it's when you're at the grocery store. It's when you're washing dishes.
Right.
And so
Right.
the Lord,
Right.
I put on my heart, you got to start a grief ministry. So for years now, I have been, I do grief counseling. And the stories that I hear, it humbles me because so many tragic deaths, violent deaths. And I was
Yes.
blessed. My husband and I were blessed that our son did not suffer long. And it wasn't from a bullet. It wasn't from drug overdose. It wasn't something, random. And I've heard some amazing stories. So I have literature that I give to people for free when they're going through grief. What I want your listeners to know is, please, especially the women, you don't have to wear a superwoman cape.
Yeah.
You are allowed to be human, to feel your emotions, because if you do not acknowledge those emotions of mad, being sad, being hurt, feeling betrayed, wondering where the Lord is, questioning all those things, that's normal. That's your human experience. And isolation is the worst thing. So please make yourself available to those that you feel that you can trust and they bring you comfort. And for those that are experiencing a loved one who's lost a loved one and you don't know what to say, know that just your presence is enough. It's an awkward time, but don't just leave them. Don't leave people and say, I don't know what to say. Or, we go have the chicken and
Yeah.
the potato salad at the memorial service and then we
Yeah.
never see them again. They
Never see
need
them
you.
again. Yeah.
They need you.
Can we flesh out a little bit more of what it means, what it looks like to take off? You said the superwoman cape, but it's for men as well.
I was going to say that
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave out the men, because what you realize, for me, this is my experience, men grieve differently. And I'm going to be transparent. I was kind of angry. I felt like my husband wasn't there for me emotionally, and I later realized that I misjudged. It really wasn't fair because he didn't have the support system I have. Men are not supposed to cry. And then what I found out was that men are wired to protect. And I think in some kind of way he felt like I couldn't protect him, I couldn't save him, so I failed. No, you didn't fail. And I, as a mother, I didn't fail. I mean, I wanted to get all these herbal supplements and juices, and I was getting everything. And for a while,
Can we just stop right there just for a
oh
moment?
yes, oh yes,
Because when you said you came to the realization, and John had to come to the realization you didn't fail.
right.
I wasn't expecting to do all of
I,
that.
I know.
But my mother,
I remember.
my mother, transitioned while I was doing CPR on her,
Mm,
and she took her last breath in my arms, and it was like
mm.
in the back of my mind, the CPR was supposed to work.
Yes.
I spent this money, took this class, got the certificate. I've helped everybody else, watch other people be revived. You see it on the news, and this officer with a baby, this officer with a kid or whatever, a elderly person, and somebody in a restaurant, and somebody knew CPR and brought them back. And so I'm going, in the moment, man,
Yes.
I'm
Right.
trying to do this.
Right.
Lord, don't let this be. And this is supposed to work.
It's supposed to work. I'm the man. I'm the prayer warrior. I help everybody else. It's like, come on now, Lord.
It's supposed to work for me.
Yes.
When it's my turn. When I've prayed, when I've pleaded, when I've interceded for others, and you come through.
I feel
Why
your
don't I
pain.
get a turn? And I'm actually feeling like a failure because it
You feel
didn't
like
work.
a failure.
And I'll never forget the fireman. Oh man.
Take your time.
The fireman says to me, you did your best.
Mm.
You did everything you could do. And he said, I just
Ooh, you needed to hear that. You needed to hear that.
And for 5 years, I've still had my moments where I wrestle with that, And, I counsel people on, it's interesting. The reason I ask you that, because it's part of your pivot and it's something I've had to pivot from, but I have these like moments and I understand how to go through a grieving process and shared all that, walk people through it. But, when it's you, it's just the reality and the walk is just so different.
It's so different. And I appreciate you sharing that very tender and vulnerable moment, because I pray that men are listening to this, and women that have husbands or sons, that we practice a little bit more empathy, because I was harboring some resentment. I'm like, you're not comforting me, and you're where,
Yeah.
and why are you talking about it? I know my husband felt like, well, what do you want me to do? And it's like, I'm
Yeah.
not asking you to do anything. I just, we're wired differently. And
And oftentimes we as men, we don't want to express the emotion, and we feel
no,
like it is our role to like be strong.
yes,
Not
yes.
realizing it's okay to be vulnerable and show that to our wives or to our daughters or to our sisters. And so we believe our best way of supporting you through something, because this just happened a month ago with my wife's brother being found dead,
Mm,
and she about a week later, I don't know if we even got through 7 days. She was like, I could have done more. I was like, no, you couldn't have done more. You were there. And she started to kind of blame herself. No, I could have done more. I was like, no, honey, you were the
mm,
best sister to your little brother that he could
mm.
have. And so our role in our minds, our thinking, especially when we don't understand emotional intelligence, is I just got to be strong.
Well, I like to share this that was really helpful for me because I shared on Facebook the loss of my son. I got thousands of condolences. And in the mail, I got a package. It was a book from a teacher. I'd never known her. She says, I'm so sorry about your son. I saw it on Facebook. And as a class assignment, I asked my students to type up a letter of condolences for you. It was an English assignment. And she put it all in a book and mailed it to me. And I was overwhelmed. And I said, Lord, let me go to the actual school. So I said, may I come to your school and thank your students? Let me tell you, Pastor, that was one of the most special healing moments because those kids, probably like middle school, I said, we don't talk about death in the Western culture.
Right.
And I said, do you have any questions? And everybody raised their hand. My grandma died. My uncle died. My auntie died. How are you feeling? What did you do? And what do I say? And what does that mean? They were asking so many questions, which let me know how important it is for us to talk about these things so
Yes.
people have some knowledge, some insight to understand how do we do this thing? Because we're all going to be faced with it. And
Yes.
it was so enlightening. I felt like I was of service. They blessed me, but then I felt like I was in service to them because these young children, had nanas and grandmas and grandpas, and
Yes.
where are they? And do you think they're still with me? And what happened when they die? And what is cremation? And what if I go to the graveyard and nobody's talking or I cry? And I didn't have answers, but I was a listening ear. And those children were so inspired and they got an education about life and the full circle of death. And that changed the way I minister and counsel with people who lost loved ones. They want to talk about it. Like, what was your mother's name? I remember when it happened. What was your mother's name?
Sheila Ferguson.
See, that is so healing to say her name. When people say, how was, oh, I remember JJ, I just light up like, you remember him. You said his name
Yeah.
because the thing that we don't want is for people to forget. Please don't forget
No,
my love. Don't
I
forget that.
I am her legacy.
See.
Yeah.
And so I want to segue into the point that I want to share. And I shared it today in my newsletter is that because I was depressed, because I kind of like, okay, God, am I done? I can't do this. Maybe it's over and maybe you've forsaken me. Here I've been your servant all these years and my son is gone. And then my grandson was born. I had lost my why. And when we got
Wow.
our grandson,
Yeah.
I got my why back. And so today in my newsletter, I share 2 books that I recommend for people. When you lose your why, when you've gone through breast cancer or you've lost your business or you had bankruptcy, you got laid off, something major shifts in your life, you can lose your why, you can lose your joy.
Good.
And so I said in the newsletter, 2 books I recommend. One of them is by Simon Sinek, Sinek, which is
Uh-huh.
Find Your Why. And the
Yeah.
second book is Shift Happens by Myself. And so I wrote the book Shift Happens in 2009 before my son passed. And then I revised it after he passed. Like, whoa, did the shift hit me?
Yeah.
And I impart in the book how to deal with shifting in life, the season
Good.
of shifting. You've got an empty nest. I counsel so many people like they've retired. I'm bored. I don't have a why to get up. The nest is empty and there's no children there, or they're widowed or they're divorced and they don't know, they've lost their why.
Yes.
They've gone through cancer, they've gone through major illness.
Yeah.
They got church hurt and now they can't find a church home, or they didn't get the promotion And so their why is gone.
That's a
And
word.
so
That's good.
you
Good.
gotta find your why. You and I are on fire about why. We know
Yes.
why we do this.
Yes. I have a whole master class on,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. Your
yeah,
master,
your who and your
I've been a
why.
part of, I've
Yes.
been a part of your master class, and it's very informative and inspirational. And I think it's significant when you're pivoting, as we start off talking. You got to stay in touch with the why, but you may have to turn in a different direction and approach it from a different angle. I had to start doing more Zooms. I did more ebooks. I did more counseling. I wasn't doing as much public appearances because of the pandemic. And so
Mm.
now I'm trying to, reinvent, reimagine
You
myself.
are
Okay.
you are reinventing yourself. You're having what I call, and I haven't done this probably in literally 11 years. It's called Machiavelli
Oh, yes,
experience. Yeah,
yes.
and that's the recreation. I do want to speak to this because I believe that the way that this interview has gone, I think God just would have it to be one that really deals with pivoting in the midst of grief, loss, death, and understanding how to be resilient and triumph in the midst of these tough moments in life. And so,
Mhm.
as you know, grief is often described in stages, though each stage may last for a different period of time for some people. The
Mhm.
stages may be, again, briefer or longer, but acknowledging, and I love what you said when you said, okay, just say her name. What was her name again? Say her name. And then
There,
just saying her name, what it did for me was like really great. And I
yeah.
think people need to understand like the stages of grieving that will help them understand what's happening to them. Because oftentimes, because you've never experienced a loss or a death or a sudden tragedy or trauma the way that you're experiencing it, I love that you lose your why, you lose
You
your
lose
purpose, that shift takes place. And so I believe that the stages of grief, just for those there who need to understand, is
it.
first,
Mhm.
there's some sense of, and I experienced this, and I'm not sure if you experienced, you didn't experience with your son, but you experienced it with your mom, and that is like this, like the now, this can't be happening
I was in total
so
denial.
much for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't even say died. I didn't say she died. I couldn't even say I didn't want to do
yeah,
Mother's Day. I don't.
no,
We're not doing Mother's Day. We're
no,
not doing Christmas. I don't even say mom. Don't even say nothing that starts with M. I was
yeah,
traumatized,
yes,
and whew, she was young, and I didn't have the tools, the experience, or
right,
the support that I had when my son made his transition. I didn't. My faith foundation wasn't established as it was when my son made his transition.
right.
And so there are stages of maturing in our spiritual walk. There's stages of accepting doors that close and seasons that end. And this is why
And I think the hard part is, let me just share this. The hard
uh-huh,
part with the accepting, it's hard to accept something when you're angry because
ooh,
that's another state.
right.
Again, why did this happen? Who's to blame? And
Yeah.
some people get into blaming God, blaming others, blaming ourselves. And it's a part of that process. I think for the person and those of us who have lost people, I was just talking to a brother the other day who I'm walking through this process, and he said, and I was so proud of him. He's been with my ministry. He's one of our deacons
Mhm.
16 years, and he said, I have to make sure I don't turn me into the victim
Oh,
because
yes.
this happened to my wife.
Right.
And I think another state phase of the grieving process is bargaining. Make this not happen, and I'll
Yeah.
do this.
I'll do
Right.
this. Yeah. Come on, God.
And you can't bargain, right? I was doing that. I was like, no, Lord, this can't happen. Not no.
No, no.
And then there's this phase of, and those of us who are people of faith, and I'll never forget my doctor saying to me, he said, you're dealing with stress and your cholesterol is high
Mhm.
because of stress. And that depression can slip in even when you're a person of faith, and it just feels like you can't breathe. It's hard to bear this. And you get like it affects you physically, where, and I think you said it, I just didn't want to do anything.
Mhm.
And then where you left off, and I want you to expound on that acceptance when we acknowledge that this has happened and
Mhm.
we can't change it. Can you
Yeah.
just expound on that for someone to understand the power of acceptance and being able to shift through that pain, move through that pain?
Well, I think what happens is that when you're a Christian, a person of strong faith, the shame that you feel like that is like I'm being punished, or if I say I'm sad, I don't want anybody to know I'm sad because that means I don't trust the Lord. No, you're human. And so, what I help people to understand is you have to own those feelings. Otherwise, they take residence in you and it affects every area of your life. I was mad. I was sad. I was shocked. And when my mother passed, nobody came to help me. You know why? Because I was acting all strong. I'm fine. I'm good. And then I was internally resentful because why is anybody checking on me? That's my mom. Because
Yeah,
I gave this presence and this image. I'm strong. I got it together. Nobody saw me cry. Nobody. But when my son made his transition, there was groceries on the door. On the front door. I took phone calls. I took visits. I said, today's not a good day. I'm not feeling it. And I allowed myself to feel it and let people see me navigating this grief, which gave them a lesson, which also freed me up so that my body wasn't storing those feelings. Because, like you said, the stress happens. When I went to the doctor and my blood pressure was up, and the doctor said it was a woman, and she said, so what's going on? How are you feeling? And I broke down crying because she was the first person to ask me. I said, and it was so liberating because like somebody's acknowledging that I'm
yeah,
in pain.
yes,
And connected the dots. That's why your pressure's up, because I was holding it in, holding it in,
bottled up.
holding it in. And so there's so many pieces to this puzzle. There's the aspect of the people that are taking care of somebody in grief. What do they do? What should they
Yeah,
say? How
yeah,
do they show up? How do you just, there's a story of a little boy. He went to his neighbor. There's an old man, his wife died, and he went to go visit him. And when he came back home, the mother said, "Where did you go?" And he said, "I went to go sit with Mr. Wilson." "Well, what did you do?" "Nothing. I just sat with him." Just
oh,
sat, just sit with somebody, and
yeah. You don't
we're
have to
all
come up with 100 words.
you don't have to bring a scripture, you don't have to bring a quote, you don't have to bring a book. You
The
you can
gift
bring
is in your presence.
your presence. We think, well, if I bring them some food, no, they need human contact. Someone to just breathe with them because they don't even know what they're feeling.
And they
It's
don't
so
even know that they need it.
don't even know. You're right. They don't even know what they need because you say, "Well, what do you want me to do?" Now you're giving that person an assignment. I got to think of what to tell you what to do. I don't need any assignment. I need to just be still. But we do that to people unconsciously. Well, let me know if you need something. Really? Let They're not going to do that. They're not going to let their shield down. They're going to act like I'm blessed, I'm good, we're all right, because they don't know what else to say. And they don't want to be shamed by somebody saying, "Well, where's your faith?" I still got my
Right,
faith,
right,
but I'm
right.
hurting too.
I'm human.
Yes.
I'm human. I'm
Yes.
human.
So
And
we don't want to shame people and well, you
no,
haven't been coming to church, or you not reading the scripture, or you didn't come to my birthday party. No, you need to show up and you need to sit with people and just be
that's
quiet.
right.
Then let you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So time has gotten away from us.
But
I'm
this was
just,
good. This was a God thing. I think the fact that we got a male perspective and a female perspective on this grief thing. I believe that your listeners and viewers are going to be blessed by this because this is not a common conversation.
no, it's
And this
not.
is one reason why I'm called the self-esteem doctor, because I started off with goal setting, just being fierce about goal setting. And I realized you cannot sustain your goals if you get them, if you haven't done the emotional work, if you haven't dealt with your emotions of shame, guilt, procrastination, anger,
Yes,
hurt, betrayal. That we've got
yes,
so, you got to look under the hood. What's under the hood? And you'll
right,
see, oh my God, this person is really messed up.
right.
This
Hey,
person really needs some help.
right.
And so that was one way I pivoted in my career as a speaker, is I had to really help people get through seasons. Because I'd like to share, let's see, 7 different stages that I think people I can ask them, where are you in your lifeline? Because once you can identify where you are, now you know what you need to do next.
That's good.
And the first one is, are you in a season of hurting? The second one, are you in a season of hurrying? You just moving fast, just moving. I got to get this done. I got to make this deadline. You're just running. And the second one is a season of hustling. You just grinding, you working hard. You just your foot's to the pedal and you just hustling. I got to do this. You don't get any sleep and you're making the phone calls and you're doing the paperwork.
That's another kind of dope too.
It is. Yes,
Another,
it is.
That's another kind of dope that covers up stuff. But going on. Yeah.
It's a distraction. It's a distraction. And then you got the hunting season. This is when people are in their hormones and they're in their hunting season. And being in a relationship that's what they're looking for. I got to get me a man. I got to get me a
yes.
I got to get my boo,
Yes, it's a new season, a new year. I got to get me, yeah.
The hormones are dictating everything. And then you got the holding pattern. That's when you can't land yet, but you're just like, God, I'm waiting on you. I'm in this holding pattern. I'm in your waiting room, and I'm not gonna give up, but I'm tired of circling. When am I gonna land? When is stuff gonna happen? And so the next one is hanging on. I do everything that starts with the letters, so it's H. So you got the hurting, hurry, hustling, hunting, holding pattern, hanging on. I'm just barely hanging on. I'm just barely. I need Pastor McFarland. I need Coach Jewel Diamond because I'm just barely hanging on.
Yes.
And then you got the last one, the season of hope. A season of hope. It's like when you tell people, things are possible, but hope says it's possible for me. You're able to personalize that. Because you could tell me all day long, oh, Jewel, anything is possible. Okay. But when you tell me, Jewel, hold on, girl, because it's possible for you because of this, and this, then the hope becomes activated in me because it's personalized. Don't sell me hope tickets that ain't got nothing to do with me and my gifts and my investments and my core values.
Yes.
I need to, so in this season that I tell you that I'm in right now, I have hope because I know my gifts. I know my time put in. I know my punch card. I know punched in every single day. My faith is strong. My affirmations, my study, my meditation. So even though I don't see evidence, I've got hope.
And hope is what supports the pivot.
There you go.
To take you to new heights, new dimensions, places that you have never gone before.
But the thing is, what I love to do is get people to be honest about where you are. Don't fake the funk. If you're in a hurting season, then we got to deal with it.
We got to deal with it.
If you're hurting around and you're not getting nothing done and you're scatterbrained and you do what they call the monkey mind, you're just swinging from tree to tree and you're not getting anything done, then we need to work on getting some clarity. We need to work on what's the anxiety. So I do this to help people to figure out, when you go to the mall and you look for that directory, like, where am I? I'm trying to find Burlington Coat Factory, but I don't know where I am. Where am I in relationship to where I want to go? A lot of people don't know where they are because they're in denial or they just they don't see the value of what you and I do to help you to navigate. Navigation means find out where you are and where do you want to go, and know that in between those 2 points, there can be delays, detours, distractions.
Would you agree? I believe that at every phase of our life, maybe even every few years, we're in a space of either discovering or rediscovering.
Yes. Or recovering.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Discovering, rediscovering, or recovering. And so with that, because you said something about punching the ticket, I'm excited about my Unstoppable event, which is going to be at a disclosed retreat center here in Southern California. And ladies and gentlemen, guess who's going to be my very special guest speaker, trainer, and coach with this group. And I want to encourage you guys got to be in the room. We have limited tickets and seating, but Dr. Jewel, can you just kind of share with people why the shift is so important and understanding how to shift and the need for a
Mhm.
blueprint to fulfill their purpose with passion and power so that they can become unstoppable, because that's the blueprint. That's the play that we're going to give people on how to become unstoppable in this next season of their life.
Yeah, and the date, isn't it January?
It's the 20th.
Yeah, the 20th.
Yes, it's going to happen on the 20th next month. So go
Well,
ahead.
I am just glad to be invited because this is definitely in my wheelhouse, and I want to be able to share the difference between a season and a cycle.
Mm,
I want to collaborate with you to give some clarity because everybody's in a different place.
place.
And I think the fact that you're creating such an intimate but yet empowering atmosphere, the people are going to be served well because you and I, we don't do shallow water. We go deep. We go 150%, and that's just the way I'm wired. And I want to give it all. I want people to tap into the mindset of being unstoppable. One of the things that I do to study to empower me is that even though I'm not a sports fanatic, I love learning about a sports mentality, the way they think. And
Yeah.
so I'll be giving some examples of this mindset that we can cultivate instead of feeling like I'm exhausted, I'm not worthy, it's too late, it's too hard. We're going to empower the audience to overcome these
Obstacles. Yes.
and change their self talk and have them. One of the things about success is proximity. And I have no shame in saying that what I'm going to pour out is from vast experience of mistakes and great milestones and great accomplishments, and yet mixed in with setbacks and challenges and heartache, and but all of that cocktail for somebody to sit at your feet and my feet, to be in the proximity, not through a Zoom, not through a phone call, but to actually
Right.
be in the
Yes.
physical presence of people who are on fire like you and me. My God, they're going to walk away so electrified because of proximity. You have to, it's
I
like
believe that.
the woman wanted to touch Jesus's robe. Like, I just got to get close. I just got to get close. And do you
Yes.
know, it says that she touched the hem of his garment. And do you know what the hem does? The hem in the garment is the part of the garment that keeps it from falling apart. Hallelujah.
Come on.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And so when you get close to somebody that can help you from not letting things fall apart, I'm not trying to take any glory, but I'm
Right.
saying there is a success principle.
There's a blueprint
That's right. It's a blueprint.
for winning,
Yeah.
for
You
becoming unstoppable.
yes.
And I know what you bring to the table because I've sat at your table. I was honored
Yes.
several years ago for you
Right.
to give me my first platform. Matter of fact, at the beginning of the year, I believe you called it the NFL,
Yeah, the Super Bowl
yeah,
Saturday.
Super Bowl Saturday. And it was
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I'm telling people, you cannot afford. You're a thought leader. You're a spiritual leader. You're just an everyday person, entrepreneur. You can be a politician, a doctor. You are going to be poured into in a way that you've never been poured into before. We're emptying the pitcher next
Yes.
month and guaranteeing you, I am guaranteeing people that they are going to receive a customized blueprint. In other words, I love what you just said. They're going to come and get a tailor-made blueprint, tailor-made hem
Yeah,
to
yeah,
their
yeah.
garment
Yes. Yes.
for winning and becoming unstoppable in this next season of their life, this next chapter of their life, which they have the authority and power, God-given authority and power to write. So we just
Abs-
want to help people write a new chapter
yeah.
and give them the tools and the blueprint, not a general one, but it will be
Mhm.
customized for each and every person that walks out of there who comes
Yeah.
with a faith expectation and a willingness to do the work, because we going deep.
Ha!
We won't be playing in shallow water.
We didn't come to play with y'all.
We're not coming to play,
No,
and
no.
we're gonna leave everything on the table
On
and
the field.
on the field. Come on, help me out. And I'm people are gonna be shocked by the experience.
Yes.
This isn't gonna just be classroom. there's some things that I'm planning that I'll share with you that we're going to do
Okay.
that I guarantee will be game changing. And I guarantee that 90% of the people have never experienced in their life when they come to this unstoppable event. So, Dr. Taylor, man, thank you so much. I didn't mean to say man, but man, thank you so much. You are a gift, you're a jewel to the world at large. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find the link to connect with Dr. Jewel Diamond Taylor below. And you also want to get your tickets now. And you can go to abetter-u.com to secure your seat now, because there's limited seating. And when we say that, it's not a play. Like there's really 100 seats, right? But we're just saying it's only 20, 25 seats. No, there's limited seating for real, because this is going to be something that's so special. It's beyond a masterclass.
Yeah.
Beyond a masterclass. It's going to be an experience that you can't afford not to be there in the room, in the proximity, as Dr. Taylor said. Any final thoughts before we close out?
Well, I just want to speak to that one person that knows that they're experiencing burnout. I want to talk to that one person that says, oh, I don't need it. But you don't realize that every season of our life, we need to keep adding. We need to turn over the soil. We need to cultivate the greatness within us. And it's going to take an effort. And as he says, you have the authority. And in the root word of authority is author. You're writing every day a page of your life. So come on, let's write a new chapter. Come on, let's get with people that know how to give you that push and elevate you. But before elevation, there's got to be preparation. And we're here, and I'm excited to see everyone in the room, because it's going to be on and cracking and exciting. And I can't wait to see the results, the reports that will come back of people who said, I didn't even know I needed this until I received it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you got it right here.
Yeah.
In the ABU Pivot Room. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode in this new season. And I'm looking forward to being with you. And I'm looking forward to receiving too next month at the Unstoppable event. Thank you. Have an impeccable day. And I'll see you at the time.
Thank you for tuning in to a Better You program with Anthony McFarland. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening.